Say good morning to Daryl Ruiter, covers the Browns for 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Daryl, good morning. Thanks for joining us again, man.
You bet, guys. Good morning.
What's up, bud?
So I think you encapsulated it really well on your Twitter, at WriterWrongFAN. You said about 20 hours ago, Myles Garrett will not let the Browns waste his career. He's had a front row seat from 0-16 as a rookie through 3-14 in year 8. He understands how the organization operates top to bottom, and he wants nothing to do with it anymore. Speaks volumes. So he formally requests a trade. Look, guys in the NFL, they don't play forever. They realize that their careers are winding down at a certain point. His production hasn't slowed down, but you don't play forever, so he wants to compete for a Super Bowl. He wants out of Cleveland. I'm guessing nobody in Cleveland really surprised by the trade request being formalized.
No, I mean, especially with what he said in late December when he made his displeasure with the organization known. I don't think the organization was.
Stay on hold. Stay on hold there for a second.
Daryl, stay on hold, bud.
Stay on hold. His phone is not right.
This connection's not good. Hold on.
Let me see here. Drab, can you talk to him? I don't know what's going on.
See if we can improve that connection with Daryl Ruiter.
Yeah.
What did he say on his Twitter, Cake? You said he encapsulated it perfectly.
Well, I mean, he just said that Myles Garrett is not going to allow the Browns to waste his career.
Right.
That he got a front row seat from 0-16 as a rookie through 3-14 in year 8, and that he just doesn't see things getting better in the prime of his career.
But what makes people think that the Browns care?
I don't know if the Browns care.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, EB. Why should they care? He's an asset.
Yeah.
Well, they may feel like they need more assets if they want to get back to where they were.
And they may also feel like, do we want a completely disgruntled guy on the roster that's taking up a huge chunk of the salary cap?
All right, sorry, Daryl. We'll try again there. Sorry, see if it's better.
Take two.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry, we jumped in on you.
Yeah, I mean, just basically, he made his displeasure with the organization known in late December. So the trade request, not a surprise. The timing of the trade request, I think that was the surprise. Monday of Super Bowl week, but clearly that was orchestrated by his representation, Clutch Sports. Perfect time to do it. He was able to hijack the news cycle for basically the entire day there until the players started talking at opening night. But not happy here. Not happy with how the organization operates. Not happy with the fact that 6 of his 8 seasons he's been here have been losing seasons, and I really think last season was the low of the low. This was a team that was supposed to do what the Washington Commanders did, and that is make the playoffs, make some noise in the playoffs, and they were just completely non-competitive.
Correct. Washington fans would love to have him. The majority that we took calls from this morning would love to have him, but it kind of depends on what it would take to get him. And we were kind of throwing out scenarios, and we thought, it's definitely going to take a couple first-round picks. I don't think it would take 3 first-round picks, but I said it'd probably take a couple first-round picks and probably a couple players, especially a younger player on the defensive line. But give us your thoughts on what you think. What kind of haul do you think it would take to get Myles at this point?
Yeah, I kind of think it's something along the lines of the Mac trade from a few years ago. You're right. I mean, in a perfect world, it should be 3 first-round picks. He's a future Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Youngest player to get to 100 sacks in his career, 4-time first-team All-Pro. We'll see if he makes it again this year. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time Pro Bowler. I mean, the resume is a Hall of Fame resume. And he's 29 years old as well. But on the other hand, the reality is they're not going to get 3 first-round picks for him. So I think the conversation has to start at 2 first-round picks. The Browns currently have 4 of the top 103 selections in this upcoming draft. So I think they need picks next year because I don't believe the franchise quarterback is in this draft. It could be in next year's draft. The class should be better. So instead of having to tank your way and lose your way into a top 1 or 2 pick again, you load up with a bunch of draft picks so that you can just go ahead and trade for the 1st or 2nd overall pick and get the quarterback that you've been looking for the last 4 decades.
Hey, just to switch gears for a moment, Daryl, we were arguing before you jumped on about a potential name change. The fan base here in Washington hates the name Commanders. The owner said, going to stick with it. There's a big portion of the fan base that just doesn't want to believe with it. They hold on to the past. You guys dealt with this with your baseball team. The Indians became the Guardians. Tell us kind of the reception initially, and has the maybe dissatisfaction faded away? Like what's it been like?
I mean, there's still a vocal minority that is unhappy with the organization for changing the name. That being said, attendance did not suffer. All the folks that said that they will never go to another baseball game in Cleveland lied. They drew over 2 million fans last year. Also, too, since the name change, they've made the playoffs a couple of times. They released I think it's called the City Connect uniforms or whatever, those alternate uniforms. I think the Nationals did the cherry blossoms or whatever.
Right. Yep.
The Guardians uniform that they came up with flew off the shelves. Like, they couldn't keep the merchandise in the team shop. It was so popular. So I think that part of the problem for the Commanders is that the uniforms are ugly. And so maybe a uniform branding overhaul would kind of be in store. Winning, fans like teams that win. I think the fact that you have a franchise quarterback and Jaden Daniels down there now, he's coming off a playoff season, that saw you get close to the Super Bowl. So I think that fans will come around if maybe you get them some better uniforms than the ugly rags they came up with, and that team continues to win. And you'll get the fans back, because winning pretty much is the deodorant for everything.
Joined by Daryl Ruiter, covers the Browns for 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. So speaking of quarterbacks, you guys have a serious quarterback problem with Deshaun Watson. In the 19 games he's played in Cleveland, he's thrown 19 touchdowns against 12 picks. His best quarterback rating since he arrived in Cleveland is 84. He was over 100 in 3 of his 4 seasons at Houston. How do you guys progress with Deshaun Watson at this point? What's the game plan going forward?
He doesn't see the field again in Cleveland. He's done.
Good.
They will have to probably do what the Houston Texans did in 2021, and that is run with a 52-man roster. He is on the roster, and he just doesn't play. Now, this Achilles injury, I think, changes that a little bit. The fact that he ruptured it a second time, less than 3 months after the original surgery, to repair it, pup him, IR him, whatever. But he just doesn't play this year. There is a portion of his contract that is injury protected, or insured, I should say. So, if he doesn't actually play this year due to injury, they can get some financial relief there. There is a nominal salary cap relief that they would receive as well. But it's not going to be significant enough to kind of like bail them out, because they have been restructuring
Right.
and adding all these dummy years on the back end of the thing. So they just basically have to wait it out. And I think that makes the importance of getting a veteran, maybe like a Kirk Cousins, right, who's
Right.
about to get Russell Wilson by the Falcons. Maybe you bring him in, pay him the league minimum. You get a guy on a rookie contract as well. Like, that's how you get out of it from a financial standpoint.
So you think they'd rather do that than take a chance on a Cam Ward or a Shador?
Well, I think that they're going to look, and they are looking seriously at both of those players. I think Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, so I'm just crossing his name off the list.
Okay.
For me, he's not worth drafting number 1, but the folks that I talk to tell me the quarterbacks in this draft would be, if they were in last year's class, the 7th or 8th guys taken.
Right.
So the quality of the player that's available at that position this year is not as good as last year. There is no Jaden Daniels for the Cleveland Browns in this draft. So I would rather them fill their other holes on the roster: offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. Great draft for running backs. Nick Chubb, injury history recently toward the end of his career here. Got to replace him. I'd rather them fill in all those other holes with those, top 103 picks, 4 of them that they got, and then next year be loaded up with first-round draft picks to go ahead and just trade for the first or second overall pick to go get that franchise quarterback that they believe can get them out of this quagmire that they have found themselves in.
Daryl, thanks as always for the intel, man. Good talking to you.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep, it's Daryl Ruiter, covers the Browns for 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland.